Okay, it's time for the sexiest lecture of the semester, which is outlining your speech or writing down your speech and giving me a copy of it that is not a manuscript. I am not looking for a manuscript. I'm looking for an extemporaneous outline, which is when you outline all the core information and points of the speech so that you can make it into a speaking outline or down to keywords, and then you can discuss the speech conversantly with me. Right? We're looking for conversant, or your ability to talk intelligently about something without reading it to us. We're not looking for you to read a script. An outline is not a manuscript. It is not you writing out every single word. All right, which means that when you speak from an outline, the speech is always a little bit different. So I want us to talk about then what goes into the outline of your speeches, because your informative speech and your persuasive speech will both come with a preparation outline that you will turn in to me on the day that you give that speech. Okay, let's talk about it. All right, so a couple of tips for outlining. All right, if you have never outlined before, this is going to change your life. Outlining your papers before you start them, your presentations before they give them, gives you a little bit of time to organize, to reflect, and to really make sure that your ideas are clear. So I strongly recommend that you sketch an outline of every major work that you're going to do. I still sketch an outline anytime I have significant work to do. So let's talk about some steps for how you do that. The first step is to have a sense of your speech. You really can't outline a speech if you don't know what it's about. And you don't know what it's about until you've collected some information and done some reading on the content of the concept of your speech. So you got to do a little bit of reading first so that you have an idea of what is important about this speech. Then you're going to write the thesis of the speech. It's really important to know the purpose and the topic of the speech. And we're going to talk about thesis sentences in the introduction lecture. Now, once you know the thesis and the purpose of the speech and you have a sense of okay, here's what people write about, here's some of the information in the speech. Now you should be able to pick some main points. You're going to group all of that information, which we think of as data, right, into similar concepts or into 3 rings of your 3-ring circus. And each of those main points should be essential/critical, discrete or separate, not collapsible, and then you want to give them some parallel structure in wording so that they sound memorable. Okay, so essential, separate, memorable. Those are our 3 main points. All right, and we do that by grouping our information into similar concepts. Now, you're going to have more information than you can group, and there are just some things that are just not going to make it into the speech. You're going to pick what makes it into the speech by deciding which concepts are essential to the understanding of the speech. That is number 1. What is essential in order to understand this concept? All right. And then you're going to apply an organizational pattern, and you can check out those organizational patterns in the informative speech module, which is an upcoming module, and then the persuasion module towards the latter portion of the class. All right. And then, you got to put the main points in a logical order. What is the best way to talk about these 3 things? Right? Because, what you do the first time might actually make the most sense once you reflect on it. So once you get your information, your data, your quotes grouped into like concepts, then you have to figure out how you want to order the 3 rings of your circus. Now that we have our 3 rings of our circus, we're going to dump our information in it, right? So that's step 3, your subpoints. Start putting your supporting material into your main points. All right. Step 4, go back and write your introduction and conclusion. You already have the thesis statement, which is part of your introduction, but now you need to add the other parts of the introduction. And once you have the introduction all completed, now you can do the conclusion. All right. Most important to an outline is kind of a formal outline structure. So you want to use a numerical and alphabetical system. You're going to start with Roman numerals, move to letters, move to numbers, move to lowercase letters, right? If you just let, for the most part, Microsoft Word do this, it will kind of do it for you, but you will have to check it. And particularly if you're using Google Docs, you will have to check it and make sure that it's working out. But start with Roman numerals, Roman numeral 1, 2, and 3. Roman numeral 1 is your introduction, 2 is your body, 3 is your conclusion. All right. Indent each of your subpoints. So if Roman numeral 1 is your introduction, subpoint A, the attention getter, which is the first part of an introduction, is indented. right? If Roman numeral 2 is the body of the speech, subpoint A, main point 1 is indented. And then beneath that indent is your subpoint. So your first subpoint is indented from your main point. And that means it moves in on the page, right? So you have 1 here, and then A here, and then number 1 here, right? And you'll notice that each of these subpoints is indented or pushed in. Tab is a great way, if you're hand indenting, use the tab button to indent. Otherwise, you can kind of do this automatically. Most of the document systems are designed to do this automatically. And then the last part is to create a works cited, reference page, bibliography, whatever you want to call it, at the end for all of the research that you use. Every piece of research that you paraphrase or quote has to be in a works cited page in APA format. And we're going to talk more about this during the research lecture. All right, so don't stress that too much at this time. This is coming in the research lecture section. There are 2 types of outlines that you should learn to write. The first one is the preparation outline, and I am the one that gets the preparation outline, and you have to write it first. You can't make the second outline first. You have to make the preparation outline first, and that's because it's the full outline. It's the absolute full structure. So there is an example of a preparation speech outline it's a speech about the Titanic. All right. And when you do your outlining activity, you will look at this full preparation outline. You'll see that it has complete sentences. All right. That it has purpose and thesis statements at the top. Right. And it tells me what my sort of organizational structure is. Right. So there's a lot of stuff at the top that's like, here are the things I thought about and decided on. And then the actual outline itself. All right, it has all of your main points. It has all of your supporting material. It has your completed reference page. And basically, a formal outline uses a very formal Roman numeral structure, ABCD structure, numerical structure. It has complete sentences and punctuation. It has complete references both in the outline, in the text of the outline, and in the reference page. And it includes everything that should be in the speech and in the exact order that you plan on it being in the speech. And I use the preparation outline to actually follow along in your speech. It helps me evaluate your speech. I'm the only one looking at it for the most part, but it helps me evaluate your speech. It tells me what you were trying to do, even if you didn't accomplish it. All right, it's the concept that we were working from. All right, so preparation outline gets turned in to me. All right, this is what I'm asking for. When I say you need to turn in an outline, I am asking for this, the preparation outline. The second type of outline is called a speaking outline, and this one is for you. This is the outline you use when you deliver the speech. So for our informative speech and our persuasive speech, we will be on note cards. We will be on note cards, which means you should not be reading from paper. No paper. You should be using note cards to deliver your speech. Okay, don't read from your laptop. Don't read from your phone. Use note cards. All right, so no paper, no phone, no laptop, which means that you need to use a speaking outline. All right, so what's a speaking outline? Well, you're going to take your preparation outline and you are going to make a much more brief version of the preparation outline. So what you want to do is use brief words and phrases that remind you of what you wrote in the preparation outline so that when you look down at it, you are reminded, oh yeah, I remember I was going to talk about how the Titanic was the largest ship ever. And then you want to have your data, right? The core material that you're never going to remember, right? Like, oh yeah, it was like more than 880 feet long and it weighed 46,000 tons. Those are very specific numbers. You're not going to just remember them when you look down and see biggest ship ever. So you want to have your supporting material. You also want to have the sources for your supporting material. Oh, yeah, yeah. That was written by Jeff Tibbles in his 1997 book, The Titanic. So I want to have written on my speaking outline, unsinkable, 880 feet long, 46,000 tons, Jeff Tibbles, 1997 book, The Titanic. And that way I will remember to say my data and also to say my source for my data. All right. But notice how I cut out a whole bunch of words, right? Because I don't need those words. And not everything that's in your preparation outline is going to make it to your speech outline. As a matter of fact, you want to put as little as possible while still having all of the core things that you need to remember into your speech outline. And this is why you're going to do the activity that helps you take the Titanic preparation outline and turn it into a speaking outline so that you know what you're supposed to do. I never need your speaking outline. You do not turn it into me. It exists only for you, right? It is yours and yours alone. So only you. Only for you. I don't ever need it. Right? This belongs only to you. I get the preparation outline. Okay, so that's the concept of outlining, and now you can do the activity.